Okay, so from here, hey, Sudach. Wait, was very good. So what I want to do, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. Hopefully it's not 2020 part 2, but rather 2022 as we move forward. I hope you all had a splendid break. See, I told you I forget everything. It's like I'm not even highlight, blink. So I hope everybody had a good break. For me it was good. We ended up going up to the in-laws and sort of goofed around a little bit, and yeah, ready to rip into the new year. So hopefully we've got lots of good training goals in mind. Yeah, so let's get going. So what we're going to do today is I want to just do sort of a combination kata kind of thing, just taking some key elements from a certain set of sort of four sort of intermediate level kata, and then sort of tying them together into some sort of functional story. So that's the idea for today. Okay, and yeah, it should be fun. So from here, hey, Sudach, hey, yoi, good, arms forward. Good, backwards. Good, out and back. Good, out and in. Good, relaxing over one side. Good, switch. Good, forward. Over the left leg. To the right. Good, back, just push hips forward. Good, single two. Good, ball the foot. Good, stretching up. Good, down, one knee down, toe heel out, just relax it down. Switch. Good. Go to the other side, zinc two. Good, ball of foot. And up. Good, dropping down. Good, roll over. Good, just the center, just feet out like a duck. Shigodach, just relaxing down. Hands flat, feet down, and roll up. Good, hips. Good, other way. Good, over the wall. Ankles down. Switch. Good, switch. This time just relax the knee, relax the hip, push down straight to the ankle. And switch. From here, tuck all the way under. And switch. Good. And up. Grab hold of your instep. Good. Switch. Good. And last one from here, just grab, put this hand in behind, grab, pull. Okay, and then from here, pull down towards the chicken wing. Just relax your head to the side. Good, opposite side, grab, pull, make a chicken wing, and relax your head over the chicken wing. Good, okay, loosen off everything else that needs to be loosened. Just going to turn off the waiting room. Right, we should be good. Good God, Cameron's still got her Christmas tree up. Yeah. Okay, so let's warm up a little bit. What we're going to do is just do a couple of little just light warm-up-y kind of things. Just to more or less just get loose a little bit for what we want to do. If you ate way too much food over this break, right, the average American eats a pound of fat between sort of, you know, Thanksgiving through to Christmas, right, and I swear I've put that into 6 pounds of flubber as I've like gone through that time. So let's just try and work out, just moving a little bit. So from here, just stepping forward with your left leg, making Geram Barai, just into Hami, just nice and relaxed, good. From here, rotating the hip, just let it relax, making Gyatsuki ich. Good, then Kazamazuki knee, ich, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee, ich, knee. Good, so some basic things to think about as always, right? Hips, body, hand, together, 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 together. Just nice and relaxed. Feel that whole thing happen, feel a push off the rear leg, really make that drive into the technique. A few more from Kazamazuki. Good, feel that nice push. Each, together, knee, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju. Good, switch to the other side. Okay, same idea, just feeling, leg push, slam the door shut, open the door each time. From Geram Barai, Gyatsuki first, each. Good, Kazamazuki knee, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju. Again, each, knee, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju. Good, and relax. Good, excellent. So from here we're going to do the same thing. This time we're just going to change the feeling a little bit. So from here down, left side, come out. Good, from this time what I want you to do, I want you to feel a stretch through your body. So within the technique itself. So before everything was solid, it was a solid train, a drive here, a push out, all together. This time, make it asynchronous. So this time, feel from here, feel the hip, everything go, hold this back, so your hip starts going, my hand remains where it is in space, and I feel a stretch across my pec. And then when I run out of space to move, when I feel my hand naturally move, then fire it. What that's going to do is it's going to create a slight asynchronicity in the technique. What's going to happen is the technique is going to go, the hands are going to push, you're going to end up with the stretch here, then let it go. You're going to feel it stretch like a rubber band, then let the rubber band go afterwards. The hip may stop moving before the hand hits the target. That's okay. Okay, for that last piece. But I just want that feeling of a rubber band, of a stretch, let it go. Stretch, let it go. And the same thing when you make Kazamazuki, yeah? You're going to be here. You're going to feel the hip go. Oh, yeah. You're going to feel the hip push. Feel it stretch. Then let it go. Okay, that feeling. So just feel that emphasis of movement. Let your hip go first. Leave your hands and shoulders where they are. Then just let it go. Okay, slightly different from normal, and that's okay. That's going to be important in what we work on later on today, yeah? So from here, different way to think about it, push the hip, feel the stretch, feel the drive of the leg, the hip pushes forward and starts turning, leave the hand where it is. When you run out of room because you just can't stretch any further, let it go. Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, q, ju. Good. So what you probably feel like is you feel like the noodly person, right? It should feel like you're here, your hip goes, oh, and your hand goes. You feel your hip go, oh, it goes. Hip, this kind of flavor. And if you're feeling that and your arms feel light and really just sort of noodly, you're doing this right, okay? Let's do it again, same side. 10 more. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, q, ju. Good, switch. There you get them, but again, just a word of caution, what I do not want you to do is I don't want you to leave your hips here and make the movement initiated from up here. I don't want you to go and then go. All I want you is fire the hip, but leave this where it is before it goes. Does that make sense? I want you to develop that stretch, so don't fall into the trap of, look, I'm doing it. That's not the point. The point is for this to go this way and this to stay where it is, right? So when I'm here, there it goes. Does that make sense? Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, q, ju. Good, 10 more. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, q, ju. Good, yummy. Good. We're going to do it one more time. This time from here, what I want you to think about, we're going to do 2 punches together. It's going to be bang, bang. And this time, how I want you to think about is one movement is going to relate to the next. So you can do this either of the 2 ways we've just done it. Either nice and solid, or behind, whichever way floats your boat. But what I want you to think about now is I want you to put the technique into as far as you can reach as possible. I want you to overextend the technique a little bit. So from here, it's going to be overextended in. So instead of me stopping where it's solid and comfortable, I want you to extend it a little bit further. So what you should feel is as you make that overextension, I feel a stretch from here to here through this hip, right? I'm slightly over-rotating my shoulders, right? I just want, again, we're warming up. So all I want is I want that slight overstretch of the shoulders, that stretch from here to here. You should feel it through your torso, right? And then what you're going to do, as soon as you feel that stretch, let it go to the next technique. So it's going to be here, stretch, stretch. So feel, not just stop, stop, but stretch and let it go. Does that make sense? So you might not be so quick. It might not be a quick bang bang from one to the other, but I want you to feel that punch, feel the stretch, then bounce, literally bounce out of it. Use the technique before to make the next technique. Does that make sense? Use the stretch here to just let it go. Click, oh, it goes. Does that make sense? So instead of being here and then having to initiate the next technique and having to initiate, take them a little further, then let it go. So it's going to be here, feel, oh, there. Feel it that little bit extra and then just bounce out of it. Does that make sense? Don't get caught up in speed. Don't start thinking, oh, I've got to go quick. Rather, make full and complete and even a little bit further in than what you normally would. Then let it go. Let it unwind. You want to get that wrap, release, wrap, release. Not just tunk, tunk. And for whatever you do, don't shorten the technique. Don't suddenly start doing, look, mum, quick. Right? Full. Torso, hips, wind, 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 let it go. This feeling. Okay? Okay, rock and roll. Don't hurry. Does that make sense? Be smooth, right? Sensei Field often says, smooth is better than speed. And he's quite right. Allow the smoothness of the technique to allow for the speed. Does that make sense? So in your mind, don't rush, right? If you're rushing in your mind, you're not going to be very quick at all. It's just going to be wrong and short. Let it go bang, bang, and you'll be surprised how quick it's actually going. It may seem slow to you, but it'll seem quick. If you remember your days back at public speaking in school, right? You've got to do a 1 minute talk and like, oh my goodness, and the time would literally go tick, tick, right? As you're doing that talk. It's the same thing here when actually you're going quite quick. Allow it to take the time that it needs. Okay, ready? So it's going to be 2 moves, 1 count. Bop, bop. Ready? Expand the gyatsuki. Itch. And then feel it pop. Good. Now one thing I don't want to see you do, and I just caught Amando doing it, is don't lose your body weight. Don't start rotating off axis. Keep in the same axis. And the same axis. Don't to make strength. Rather stretch and stretch towards your target, right? You all are my target. That's the way I'm reaching. Does that make sense? I'm getting pulled this way, not this way. So let it stretch into the target. Okay, ready? H, ni, some, she, go, all the way through. Oh, she, hatch, q, ju. Good. Switch. And what you'll find is it feels kind of a little bit heavier, but the techniques feel really linked. The 2 techniques make sense being together. It's no longer 1, 2. It's sort of 1, 2. They're 1, 2. They're not 1, 2. The words are not nicely announced here. They're not clipped. They're slurred together. So allow them to slur together. Other side. H, ni, some, she, go, ro, she, hatch, q, ju, am. Good, and relax. So what we have is we have 3 kind of flavors, yeah? We have 1 where it's the solid classic bang, everything together. Boom, boom, right? The second one we have is this push, and the hips sort of go, you know, with a stretch and your arm kind of catches up. It's very noodly, right? And then the third that we have is this idea that if we overextend by a touch, if we use that slight overextension, again, we're using a training aid at the moment to create that. We're going a little bit further, but what I want you to feel and be aware of is that whether it's your legs squeezing or opening, or your shoulders expanding forward or expanding back, using that movement that's between the actions, between 1 and 2, to lead across from one to the other is also important. Does that make sense? So what we can do is we've got those 3 sorts of tools, and those are the 3 things that we're going to think about today. Does that make sense? Everyone's warm? Okay, one more just sort of warm-up exercise. I'm pouring with sweat. It's like, it's amazing. Houses in America are really well insulated, and of course we have the heat on, so it's like 70 some degrees, and I'm just like, and I'm wearing my big fat man's heavy gi today, so I'm like pouring with sweat. So what we're going to do, we're going to do one more drill, and this is just for fun. All right, so from here I'm going to do it facing this way. All I want you to do, and we're going to use it just to get our hips sort of rotating a little bit of more action and sort of multi-directional ideas. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to have a pattern of 180, 90, 180, 90, 180, 90. Okay, so 180 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 90 degrees, and so forth. If you get lost, we're just making block then punch. If you get lost, the rule of thumb is just follow, and you don't know which way you're turning, just follow the sticky out arm. Okay, just go in that direction. Okay? Right, and it's okay, we'll go slow first. So get under like Yakusuki to start with. Just nice and relaxed. Step forward, Hidari single touch, get under. Kamae, Yakusuki. Now from here, 180. Each, 1, 2. 90 degrees, follow your arm. Knee, 1, 2. 180 degrees, sun. 90 degrees, sheep. 180, go. 90, rock. 180, 90. And up. Easy? Okay, good. So let's do that again. What you can do here is you're going from a hami to a shoman position. So depending on what you're up to, or if you're bored, right? Some of you may be at the level of just struggling with which way do I turn. Some of you might be, this is fairly easy. So what I want you to think about is on that Gyakuzuki, think about how you can maximize, and just on the Gyakuzuki for this round, think about how you can use either the first way, solid, or expanded and late, how you can use that and incorporate that into the Gyakuzukis as you rotate through this. Does that make sense? So you can bring that in. Up to you how you do it. Okay, from here, nice and relaxed. Get under again. It's going to be 180, 90, 180, 90, 180, 90 as we go through. I'm not going to announce the direction, I'm just going to count. But I'll keep it slow between each count. Hey, ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu. Good, and up. Good. Okay, now one more quick comment. We're going to go through again, but this time I want you to really make sure that you're going hami to shoman, hami to shoman, hami to shoman. Right? So when you block, your hips are in hami, pull them all the way back, make it mahame, right? Pull them all the way back. And then to shoman. So as you step, make sure you're not sort of, if I do it on kind of facing you, if I do it this way, make sure as you turn, you're not just turning, square, and then nothing. Square, and then nothing. Make sure, use full action and open. Action, open. Action and open. Action, open, and so forth, yeah? Just make sure, just double check. Okay, full half, full half, full half, full half. Okay, one more time, you ready? This time, those who are clever, what I want is solid on the odd numbers, and I want loose on the even numbers. See if you can alternate between the two as we go through in real time. Okay? If you can't, choose one and stick to it. Does that make sense? But I want you to alternate the odd numbers on each. Boom, solid. Knee, turn, let it go, then go. Right? Sun, solid. Shi, expand and go. Does that make sense? Try and do that as you go through. Only if you've got the pattern. If you're still struggling with the pattern, then do what you can. Okay? This is not important because I'll get back to it later, trust me. Hey. Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rau, shij, hach, kyu. Good. How you make? Good. Now from here, switch it. So on odd numbers now, boom, let them go and then expand. Even numbers, block together. Okay? Try switching it. Get on Bassai again. Hey. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rauk, shij, hach, kyu. Good, yummy. Good, and relax. So if you notice, within that, when you're doing the solid, together, 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 right? So block, together, that kind of feeling. What you notice, the technique was very bang, 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 bang. They were very clipped, enunciated words that you used. If you went with the more sort of go and then expand, what you notice, there was no real stop. You sort of, it's like your hips just kept moving, and then you blocked, you stopped and hummy, and then the hips just immediately went and then the arm caught up, right? So you probably noticed that. If you didn't, that's okay. This is important, right? Because it allows you to start thinking about how the hip dynamic can sometimes be more fluid within the technique. So we've talked about the dynamic of the movements between the gerambarai and the punch. But now what I want you to think about is the dynamics after the punch into the next movement. Does that make sense? So this time, do that slight overextension that we were talking about before and use that to bounce into the next technique. So just as a quick show of hands, just for how I handle it, how many of you are confident that you can get through all 9 movements of this? Just put your hand up without me counting. If I just go itch and go blah, 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 through all 9. Oh good, I'm happy to see Matt's hand up. I was worried there for a minute. Right, yeah, so everyone can get through it more or less. Right, and I can see sort of, you know, one orange belt in the room with Matt. You just follow them, you're all good, right? So from here, what I want you to do this time is use the gyakuzuki, use that slight overexpansion to now rip around into the next technique, right? Allow it to go. And those who've been doing kata like Kankau or Jion with me, right? Think about, or even hand Shotokan with me. Think about the simplest possible way that you can make the motion, right? If I'm here, I'm in hand Shotokan, I've just finished the first punch. Do I go through and need to really wrap and drive the technique down, right? And again, I'm overemphasizing making it look stupid because it really kind of is. Rather, just allow the movement, this to tuck, allow this to wrap naturally and go. So think of it as an elbow action. Think of the elbow simply driving down and not worrying about necessarily what the forearm's doing. You don't necessarily need to make the elbow twist and see how it's not on direction. As it goes, you can just use it from here straight down, right, to follow in one simple linear cutting path as it drives down. You don't necessarily need to pull it back any further. That stretch comes naturally through the turn of the body, right? So from here, as you go, allow that nice just bang, 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 bang through, okay? By the way, just a quick comment. When I say this is not necessarily useful, well, sometimes it is, depending on what you're doing, right? But if your goal is just simply rip round, have a nice strong technique, keep the elbow movement simple and drivey, right? There's no reason to have backward action if you don't need it, right? Okay, so let's do that drill again. This time, 1 count through the whole thing. Allow that slight overextension to carry you into the next technique. So it changes from being 8 or 9 individual techniques to one technique, one flow of the hip. Okay? How you go through the Gyakuzuki is up to you. It can be bang bang, or it can be boom, boom, up to you. Whichever way floats your boat. Okay? Right, ready? Hey, yoi. Hey. Action! Good, and up. Good, and relax. So a couple of things that are really important here. Number 1, keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep your upper body straight. Don't let it wobble around, right? You're not like, hopefully you're not like a plate balanced, you know, you have those spinning plates balanced on a stick and you have them balanced on another plate. Hopefully you're not like that wobbling around, right? This, right? Be solid and strong in your center. Don't let it wobble either way. You don't need that, yeah, for what we're doing. Allow it to bang, 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 bang. Second thing, allow the stretch to then just pull you into the next technique. Allow the stretch to pull you into the next technique. Okay, allow that flow, that fluidity to occur. You're very used to, just by the nature that we count, you're very used to that connection. Ich, bom, bom, hold. Ni, bom, bom, hold. San, bom, bom, hold, right? You're very used to that. But rather allow it now just boom, 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 boom. Michelle, yeah, what's your question, mate?
My question is, in the footwork,
yeah,
you don't contract nothing in the middle, so when we do transitions between stances, right?
So
I'm talking about that kind of thing. When I do the 180, I should just go just like a switching, right? But not going in out.
Yeah, yeah. So
when we do 190 degrees, it's even more, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so here's my answer to that. And I was at a training with Matt, actually. We were in San Francisco, right? And we're training with, what's his name? His name just popped out of my head. Berger, right? It's Bill Berger? No, not Bill Berger. But anyway, Sensei Berger was his last name. Matt's already got it. He's going to tell me because I have a small brain. Mike Berger, thank you. Right, so trained in Japan, long time, pretty sharp, very, very good karateka. But he'd done a lot of Chinese martial arts and accompanied that to his karate, his Shotokan karate. So very, very good karateka. But he had gone to China, done a lot of kung fu, right, trained a lot of wushu while he was there. And a lot of the stuff that he was doing was shifting his center, shifting his center, shifting his center. And the part at the time that I had a lot of trouble with was sort of keeping up with the footwork. I was like, where are his feet going? Right? And he just went off and said straight out, I ran up to him and I asked him after class, I'm like, well, how are you moving your feet? And he goes, well, my center just tells my feet where to go and your intent. And that's the best way to put it, right? I once asked Steve Ubel the same question, right? He talks a lot about footwork. And at the end of the day, it's just where your center's going. Your feet automatically know where to go, right? So what I would do, Marcello, your feet work quite often when you're not thinking about it. They mirror where your center's going, right? They'll often do it when you're not actively thinking. We're sometimes trained to go here, then pull away, and then in, right? This is the classic basic, right? Where in reality, all it needs to be, if my intent is to go forward, is just to lift and drive, right? That's more accurate and more correct. Unless my intent is here, pull away, wait for them to attack, then scoot in. Right? So my advice is don't worry so much about your footwork, worry about your intent and make sure that your footwork marries and matches your intent and center movement. In this case, we're constantly driving forward, right? Every single movement. If I start out on the 180 block punch, when I turn, if I pull away, you can see I'm going to get killed. unless I want to create that distance to then drive back in. But if I'm turning from A to B, I simply want to drive off the sled, push this in, and simply drive it to where it needs to be. Right, when I make the next turn, I simply want to push my hip in that direction. My feet simply make the step. Now, if I'm changing that to a throw, or I need to pull back to create distance, then my footwork would pull back and move accordingly. Does that make sense? So none of it's wrong. You've just got to make sure that your footwork matches your intent and that your center footwork are in agreement with each other. Does that make sense? There's odd differences to that. If someone's coming in, one of the applications for Tiki Shodan, Ashi Barai coming in, so you lift, right, this kind of thing. But that can also be here to drop my center into the target, right? But it could also be here, I'm just lifting this out of the way to then be able to continue to drive. You know what I mean? And that's one of those odd exceptions. So you see all manner of that. Is that cool for everyone? Yeah, so the thing that gets me is when I see your intent here clearly is to go forward, your intent is to catch them in the half beat, and yet you make it a 1-2. That's a problem, because that's just creating an opening with which you're going to get hit in, right? Okay, so let's go through, let's do that again. One count, ba 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 ba. Ready? Hey. Hi, Smith. Good. One more time. Ready? Action. Good. Once you're done, just come straight up. Okay, we're going to do one more. This one's slightly more dynamic, same theory, but it's just going to help you a little bit on your hip. So some of you a little bit too rigid. Let it go a little bit more, right? Let it flow a little bit more. From here, we're just going to change the count up a little bit. So I'm going to count it through once by the count, and then the second time you're just going to go. So from here, hey yoi, stepping forward, making uchuke. Ich. From here, maigiri, punch, punch. Good. Now from here, punch gyaksuki, turn. Kick, punch, punch. Then punch, turn, kick, punch, punch. Good, coming on up. Right, so the pattern is going to be block, kick, punch, punch. Then punch, turn, kick, punch, punch. Punch, turn, kick, punch, punch. The count is going to be itch, boom, 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 boom. Knee, boom, bada, boom, 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 boom. Sun, boom, bada, boom, 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 boom. Everyone good? Okay, so let's go through that, all 8 counts. The only exception will be on the last one, just make uchuke stop there. Okay, once you reface this way for the second time. Right, ready? So block, kick, punch, punch. Itch. Now from here, on knee, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Knee, punch, block, kick, punch. Good. Sun, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Sun, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. She, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Go, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Oh, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Oh, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. She, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Harch, punch, block, stop. And up. Yeah? Okay. So for the block, kick, boom, boom, you can feel a natural flow of that movement, right? The one that I'm interested in here, and the reason why we're doing this, is I want you to feel like gyakuzuki and immediately wrap it around to the uchuke. So boom, wrap, and then the rest will flow almost like, you know, diarrhea, okay? Boom, blah, boom, blah, it just goes. So allow the punch, rotate, that piece to take over. Be very relaxed as you move through. Don't make it all hard. Just relax through the action. So I'm going to count it again, 1 through 9. Feel, boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom. That punch turn. And don't make it from up here. Make it from that over rotation of the hip. Boom, boom, right? You're already in a shaman position here. So when you make that gyatsuki, feel a slight more drive. Feel a stretch through the hip flexor, through the upper body to here. Then just let it go. Does that make sense? Feel that little bit of a stretch and bounce out of that stretch to let it go into the uchuke, yeah? Feel that boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom, as you go. Let's go. I'm going to count 9 times, right? So it's going to be on each count, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Knee, punch, block, kick, punch, punch. Ready? Ish. Now punch, go. Knee. Sun. She. Go. Look. Sheech. Hatch. Q. And up. Good. Easy? Does that help? A little bit sort of, okay. Right, so from here, 1 count, whole thing, right? The whole thing flows, right? Block, kick, punch, punch. This naturally allows, one. This naturally allows, one. It naturally allows that action to go from one to the other, one to the other. Hey, Yoi, ready? Hey. That's it. Good. Once you're done, just coming up. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. For some of you, I want you to slow down a little bit, right? This is more about the body movement than the speed of the techniques, right? Remember, smooth is fast. So allow the technique, as you're there, allow your hips to stretch, whether in Hami or Shaman, right? Allow them to make that action. And it takes time, depending on the speed of your hips. I have fast hips. I did Enpi for a really stinking long time, okay? Allow your hips to squeeze and then expand and allow that natural action to move. For some of you, that expansion and contraction may be a little bit slower, and that's okay, right? Because the hips, a lot of the musculature that's here and holds all this is really kind of slow twitch. Well, I don't know, ask me when I get kicked in the balls. It's amazing how fast I can close my legs. But in reality, they move slowly. That contraction is something that takes a long time to get these internal squeezing and this external opening. So allow it to take its time. Allow it to fully sink in and then use it to move, right? Allow those who are thinking about it just before we went on break, think about your shoulder action, squeezing and opening in concert with all of that, right? All of this moving together, right? You can allow all of that to come in and into play. So from here, let's do it again, right? Last time through, then we'll grab a drink and then we'll do what I actually want to do today. Okay, now I think you're prepped for it. Okay, so from here, nice and relaxed. One, block, kick, punch, 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 go, kick, punch, 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 go, kick, punch, punch. That feeling, and just work yourself. It's more about working the rhythm, right, than going fast. If you're looking at other people online, you've probably got a ribbon down one side, right? If you've got Matt there, don't follow him, don't follow me. We should be moving quicker, right? Go at your pace. If you keep up with this, that's great. But if you can't, don't worry. Right, ready? Hey. Hey. Good. Hey. Hey, yummy. And relax. Grab a drink, 2-minute break. Hey, us. Good. Okay, it appears most people are back. Cameron's almost, there's Isabel. Mike's gone. It's Jennifer, she's there. Okay, good. Reva's back, you can tell that. There's Andrew, good. Okay, so let's move in. So what I want to do is I want to now expand this into these ideas, into Kata and the way they're developed, yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to do sort of just a combination of just some key movements out of 4 Kata. Okay, and all I've done is this morning when I was in the shower, I thought, okay, which Kata am I going to pick on and which movements am I going to pick on? So that's literally how far along these ideas are. And so the 4 Kata I want to focus on now is Bassai Dai, Kankau, Enpi, and Jion. Okay, so if you're an orange belt, you're going, oh my God, I don't know what any of this is. Don't worry, neither does anyone else in the room. All we're doing is we're doing maybe 4 or 5 movements out of each kata and just tying them together, okay? So don't, what's going to be important is how we apply those movements, right, across what we're actually doing, across the themes that we've talked about so far today, okay? And so, yeah, let's just do the set of movements at the moment, and then what we're going to do is we're going to break them out as we sort of move, right, as we go a little bit. So, from here, first part, just make your way. I'm just going to face this way just so you can see it a little bit easier. The whole thing is just linear. It's going to be moving forward and away from you. Okay, so what we're going to do, the first movement is just because we have an orange belt, we have a couple of brown belts in the room. You may or may not know these 4 kata, but it's okay. We're doing simple movements out of them, but it's just so you don't get lost. First movement, of course, is just out of Bassai Dai, but all I want you to do is we're not going to do it from the classic you're here. We're just going to do it from Kame, from just Shizentai, just nice and relaxed. It's just going to be driving in, out, drive in, ich, so straight in. From here, expand the foot back, uchuke. Then uchuke going into gyaku hamae. Front foot shifts. Good. Now from here, turn, making sotuke. Knee. Then front foot shifts. Samba. As you stretch out. Good. And relax. So that's the first set. Right? So just think here, as you move, just checking on just good action, good movement. Make sure as you step, feel the stretch of the hip as you drive in. Feel the shoulders move with it. Feel whichever way, it doesn't matter which way you load this, right? So, you know, I mean, geez, I think through, you know, variations, right? From here, ich, I don't care, right? I have better things to worry about. Rather, feel the action of the arms, feel the action of the sweep if you've got it in, and just feel it drive into the technique. Boom. Remembering that this is not necessarily a block, but rather a drive in. So make that elbow position and drive. Whichever way you get there and whatever you're doing on the way is up to you. Does that make sense? So it shouldn't be finishing this path by the time you finish the technique. It should already be there, and then this last little bit of foot coming in makes the drive. Right? It might be block, cover, and then drive up. Block the hand, cover in the elbow, and slide up the elbow into the face. It's up to you. Right? I don't mind. But from here, just as you go, as you're doing it from a yoi position, it's going to feel super loosey-goose. But in reality, you're going to run up, you're probably going to use it by, why do you want to hit me? Right? So just use from here. Have that action of making the cover, the movement that you would normally feel in, and just let it drive into the technique. So from here, ready? And make sure not, last thing you want to do, someone's attacking you. Put this out into the thing that's going to hit you. Right? Push, expand it in. Okay? Feel what this hand's doing. Don't just make it just appear. Let it do something. And then finish it in the right place. Hey, ready? Ish. Good. Now from here, feel that expansion, load the hand, expand out, full humming. Now from here, feel that stretch of the hip, let it relax into the uchuke. Feel from here, expand, check that you're in gyaku hamae. Make sure that you haven't orphaned the back leg, that you're not standing and going, hi mum, and this is completely relaxed. Turn it, push it. It should be actively pushing up and out, and towards, for me, the back corner. Now turn, allow that all the way around, and make sure this rear leg is fully engaged, pushing you in that direction. Then keep the drive somewhere as it goes. Good, and up. So, check on the gyaku hamaes, right? So there's an orange belt in the room, so you're well aware of in hand nidan. If you're not, I'll tell Matt off, right? But you're fully aware of being here, you expand across, make that gyaku hamae. Check that this leg, this back leg is engaged and push in. Don't have it sticking out where it's just sort of like orphaned. Keep it in. Boom, that gyaku hamae. Same thing goes here. As you're driving in, feel the expansion, feel it rotate, and as you push, not just pull this back, but turn through this whole joint to squeeze tight. Then when you turn, flip it all the way from here, all the way around to push. Then let it expand out. Does that make sense? So really work that base leg, work that base joint in the gyaku hamaes. Make sure that that's the driver here, right? And what you should feel, because this is going to be important for later, is you shouldn't feel comfortable in any of these positions. Each one of these each one of these techniques is a full expansion or a full contraction. When I'm here, I'm squeezing, I let it go. Whoa. I'm completely, everything's open. So then I just let it go. Now everything's squeezing. Now let it go. Whoa!
Now everything's squeezing. Then let it go. Does that make sense? Allow that feeling, allow that full expansion and full contraction to happen, yes? That's important, and it's that in between that's going to be critical for when we start playing with this for the last part of class. One more time, just from your, hey, I'll do it from your perspective. Ich, ni, sam, she, go. Good. Everyone's got that, yes? Now from here, 1, 2, just like hand yondam. Then, from here, we're doing Kankau Dai. It's going to be kick, turn, push, pull. Then we're going to repeat. 1, 2, turn, push, pull. Good. Everyone good with that? Okay, so let's just go through that whole thing, the whole sequence. So we've got Kankau Dai, and we've got Bassai Dai, then Kankau Dai. I'm going to do it from your perspective. So just watch. The beginning, it's just going to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? Just like so. Let's do it together. Hey. Ich, ni, sam, she, ok. Good. Rok, shich, hach, q, ju, ich, ni, sam. Good. So a couple of things that are important in the Kankau Dai bit is make sure that everything finishes in a complete and full way. It doesn't need to overstretch, but it must end each time in a picture perfect movement. Does that make sense? So I want you to end as if someone's taken your picture, right? So you might be here. I've just finished the uchuke, the second uchuke. I turn 1, 2, pose looks great. Kick, turn. Pose looks great. 3, push all the way. 4, then pose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that make sense? So everything becomes what I call very square. Full, complete, but not overstretched movements. Okay? Everything just finishes kind of like it's a little bit of a pose. Like each time, right? Every movement finishes kind of like you're posing up. There's one other piece I want to add in there, but we'll add in a second. So from here, right leg forward, uchuke, just the Kankau Dai piece. So each 1, 2, turn, square. Now, when you do the next movement, I want you to kick, load, and expand together. So watch, this is what I mean. Don't blur the motion, don't blur the action together. I want it here, kick, hold, pose. Not, see how it's sort of, the words are slurred? I want you to make the words crisp. So it's here, kick, turn, load. Does that make sense? So make each hip action sharp, complete, and by itself. If we were doing this in our in the basic, ich, ni, it would be that. Does that make sense? All right, here we go, one more time. Hey, ich, 1, 2. Good, you should be in the Shotokan with the aguke, good. Knee kick, sam, twist, she, pull. go, look, shich, patch. Very good. Everyone good with that? Let's go through the whole thing up to here. Hey. Bassai Dai first. Ich, ni, sam. Shi, yo. Rok, shich. Hach, chu, ju. Ich, ni, sam, shi. Very good. Okay, from here, we're going to switch to Enpi. Enpi for me is the part we're doing in Enpi now. It's going to be from here, from Get Up, squeeze it down. 1, open, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, no. Just to 11 here. Just to this point. Okay? Because we're going to add in the last kata after that. Everyone good? Let's go through that piece. So we're from here. We're from the yoi. I'll do it in the same perspective as you. Oh, okay. Ready? Just drop forward. Drop down to Zenkuts. Make Geramra. Ich. Agizuki. Open the hand. Drive the hip. Squeeze. Drop out. Come around. Agi. Agayuchi. Open. Drive. Drop. 1. And hold. Good. One more time. From up here. From here as you go, use this first action from a relaxed yoi-like position. Allow it to simply open wide. Let it go. Open. Squeeze the hip a little further. Ready? Each fully expanded. Let it go. Oh! Open the hand a little further. Knee, drive, push. Let it go. Let it go. Open. Dry, as the hand opens, squeeze it up a little further. Drop, push, turn, and stop there. So this one, Enpi, is the equivalent of the second piece that we were doing, right? Enpi was this idea of the one, expand, and then let it go. It's that feeling through this. So as you move, what I want you to feel is I want you to feel within the movement, as you actually do it, feel the strings stretch and then let the arms go. So just watch. As I go, I'm here, feel that hip drive forward, feel the stretch, and then I'll let it go. Now from here, let the hip go. Oh, let the hip open, expand. Then let it go, expand. Then back to center. Still open, let it go. Open. This feeling. And again, that's way too heavy, but it's just because I'm breaking it down. Does that make sense? Allow that slight stretch to occur before each movement. And allow that stretch to allow it to one go. One go. So each time it's like your body, within each movement, your body moves a little bit first. It creates that little bit more stretch and allows it to go. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to speed up the count a little bit, but just flow through. Allow your body to feel the stretches as you want. Hey, ready? Hey. H, some, she, hook, she, hutch, hold. And up. Try again. Ready? H, knee. Expand. Sun, she, go, hook. She, punch, up. Ju. Good, and relax. Good. So feel how your body expands and contracts. If I do this more without counting or thinking, it'll end up being more this feeling. Here. And see how my body's just boing, 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 boing as it's moving, right? Even there, a little too heavy, but that's the feeling, right? I'm still working off my Christmas ham, right? But that's the feeling, it's still heavy. Does that make sense? So let's tie all this together. Let's tie the 3 kata together so far. Bassai Dai, Kankau, Enpi. I'm going to do it from the same perspective you are. Hey. Ich. Ni. Sam. Shi. O. Ro. Shich. Hach. Kyu. Ju. Ich. Ni. Sam. Shi. Now Enpi. Go, look, shich, hach, ju, ich, ni, sam. Good, and relax up. Everyone good? Everyone keeping up? Okay, last one. Jion. From here, you're in this weird position. Just from here, uchuke, solid. Ich. So you're here, right legs, left legs forward, blocking out with your right hand behind you. Just turn uchuke, ich. Then from here forward, uizuki, ni. Then turn, uchuke, ich. Then uizuki, ni. Last one, turn back, uchuke. Good, and push. And then from here, yoi. And up. So I added a few more, it makes us, it's healthy, just gets us back to the end point, and then we all feel nice and happy. For Jion, I want you to think heavy and grounded, right? So it's just solidness. Keep the movement incredibly simple. Simple and solid, right? As hand Shotokan-like as you can. So when you're here, boom. So when you make that first one, from here, it feels like a nothing movement, but arguably it's one of the hardest. What you've got to do is you're pushing out from this position here into that block, the hips still down, but when you come under into that uchuke, you've got to once again drive off this back leg to anchor and center. Does that make sense? It's not, I'm not just sitting here and going, I'm here and actively sitting, because my next movement is to step and push. When I make that next drive, think hand Shotokan. Leave this arm where it is, bring this one round, center, and push. Then step, solid. And then we get to do it once more. Feel, center, push. Then drive it through, bang. Does that make sense? So make it just grounded and solid. Let's try it. From here. Ich. Knee. Good, make sure. Hips should be fully square. Full Shoman. This is as basic as you can be, yeah? Now turn. Just think of this right arm. Just turning straight around, just back fisting them clean in the face. Ich. Then step, knee. Then one more. Left arm, just bring it straight through. Sun. Then step, shi. And then up. Good. Everyone good? Okay, let's see if we can get through the whole thing now. Right, so that's all 4. So this is just, to me, these 4 groups of movements are indicative of the signature movements of the kata, right? These ones have the core movement type embedded in them. Okay, so we're thinking as you go, you're literally going to switch from Bassai Dai to Kankau Dai to Enpi to Jion. okay, as we go. And what we're practicing here is the core actions of each one of those kata, right? The core things of what they're trying to teach you, okay? So let's go again. Just go through the movements, and then for the last 15 minutes, we're going to expand on that in relation to what we did at the beginning of class, okay? So from here, hey, you Bassai Dai first. Hey, ich, ni, sam. Check that back leg. Shi, oh. Good. Now from here, Kankau Dai. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Oh. Shich, hach, cute, ju. Now Enpi. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, shich, hach, ju, ju. Now Jion. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, ro. Hey, yummy. Good. Easy? That's okay, right? So I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to watch you, make sure you've got it, right? Because you need the movements before you can do the next part. Okay, so hey, Yori. Hey, Bassai Dai first. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Kankau Dai. Go, rok, shich, hach, chu, ju. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Now Enpi. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich. Hach, chu, ju, ich. Well, ju, sorry. Now from here. Jion. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, ro. Hey, amen. And relax. My son, good, bad, in the middle. Right, okay. So, what you probably notice is within there, my timing, the way I count varies, right? So if you notice within Bassai Dai, a lot of the movements were blurred. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. When we went to Kankau Dai, the movements were clipped. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, oh. Shi, hach, chu, ju. When we went to Enpi, ich, ni, sam, shi, go, look, shi, hach, chu, ju, ich. They were this way. And then Jion, ich, ni, sam, shi. Bassai Dai, Kankau Dai, Enpi, Jion, the reason they're our basic four is because they have distinct patterns within the movement that allow you to move different ways. Does that make sense? So if we bring this back to how we were moving initially at the beginning of class, Bassai Dai, that over expansion, does that make sense? Over wanting to let it go. Kankau Dai, light but clipped. Ich, ni, sam, shi. Enpi, expand go. And Jion, just freaking solid and heavy. They have different flavors in the way that the kata are asking you to move. Does that make sense? Right? So Bassai Dai is all about the way we've done it today. It's about that beautiful use of an overstretch to relax into the next movement, Kankau Dai is about a light feeling, but being incredibly crisp. Pump, 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 but using the hips in such a way, the kick, it's not just sort of clumped round, it's here, and I use this leg and this and my hip to really turn into the action that I want. It's not just here, kick, this. That's just sloppy. Rather, it's here, kick, pull, down, fast, expand, right? Enpi is about using those cables within each movement and between. But it's about here, feeling the cable expand, 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 expand. Does that make sense? Into the actions. Jion is about that straight, heavy, as basic as you can be, grounded, solid movement together. And those are the things that the kata, you're never told that they expressly teach you. But if you practice the kata, this is where they go. Does that make sense? This is what they're after. This is what they're after all. It's not about the movements themselves. It's about how the movements relate to each other within the feeling of the kata, within the flavor. So the part that's really easy is to do these movements within the kata and the whole kata. But the hard thing to do is to switch among them as you're moving within one set of movements. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. We invented a kata that contains movements that you're familiar with from each kata. We've done it already using the same movement. Now we're doing it with movements that are indicative of each of those kata. And can you switch among those feelings, right, as you go through it? That's the challenge. Okay? Almost too easy, right? And what you want to do, why do this in this way? Well, probably some movement types are going to be more related to how you move. You might be a bigger person, so hand, Shotokan, Jion, boom, boom, works beautifully, right? You might be sort of more flowy in your action. That works just as well than Bassai Dai, right? You might be one of those people who's like skinny and like big, right? And just sort of a little bit, not inflexible, but likes that shape, boom, 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 and likes making those shapes. Kankau Dai is perfect for that. And then you might be one of those people who's sort of hyper-elastic and light. Then Enpi is for you. But the thing that's important as you're training through is you must train all four of these types of these flavors. You see what I mean? To develop and get better overall in your karate. That's the idea here. And that's the point of this class, is to give you a vehicle to do that together. Because to switch through them in real time is really hard. Right? To switch from one to the other, to the other, to the other is really difficult. Okay, in real time, especially when you've got the pressure of somebody in front of you. There are times when you want to absorb. There are times when you want to brick wall them, right, and be solid. There are times when it's smart to be able to shift. There's times when it's smart to be there and let everything come behind it. You see what I mean? And that's what these four katas teach. Does that make sense? So, let's go through this action again. And what we're going to do, we're going to do the Bassai Dai portion with the Bassai Dai feeling 3-4 times. Then we're going to do the same with Kankau Dai, Enpi and Jion. And I want you to solely think about how that relates to what we did at the beginning. Does that make sense? And then we're going to tie it together, go through it a couple of times, and we'll run out of time at that point. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go. So from here, Bassai Dai, remember, my count is going to reflect the kata. So remember, the purpose of this is to overstretch each time. Work that rear leg, let it go, work it. Does that make sense? It's about the smoothness of transition from one move to the next. Here we go. Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Good, back. Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Good. One more time. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Good, and relax up. So ideally you want all of those movements to run together. Here, feel, oh, whoa, this kind of flavor. You want them to tie together, but then you've also got to have that anchor foot working and blah, 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 which is really hard, right? So go slow, go smooth, and feel it blah, 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 as it goes, okay? One more time, last one, then we're on to Kankau Dai. Hashme. Boom, 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 boom. Good. Good. From here now, Kankau Dai. Feel it this time, sharp and clean. Every single movement, the hip, the arms move together, but the hips move as fast as they can. They start, stop, done. Start, stop, done. Start, stop, done. Every movement is square, cornered. Does that make sense? So there's no blah, blah, blah. It's just thump. It's from here. Thump, thump. Solid, solid. Kick, solid, solid, solid. You see what I mean? And control that in both a fast tempo, but also a slow tempo as well. Have the discipline to do it in both. Ready? Hey. Ich. Up. Knee. Some. She. Go. Up. Chich. Hatch. Q. Good. Again. Hey. Ich. Knee. Some. She. Go. Look. Sheech. Hatch. Very good. Again. Think. Hips quick, fast. Each time butt solid. Solid hips. Ich knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Oh. Hips all the way down. Finish them. They must go to completion every time. Ich knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Push all the way. Oh. Good. Last one, own time. Keep that feeling. Ready? Hey! Very good. Now Enpi. Enpi, you feel like a string puppet, right? Stretch the strings to where you feel them stretch. Your body moves. Oh, then let it go. Oh, here we go. There it goes. Now here. Oh, oh. Now let it go that little bit further. Oh, feel the stretch. One movement leads into the next because of that overstretching, because of that feeling. And it happens not just at the end of the movement, but within each movement. Okay? As you go. No problems, Mike. Okay, so that feeling. Ready? Hey. From here. Hey. Each knee. Sun. Feel the stretch. She. Go. Sheech. Feel the stretch. Lock. Sheech. Hold. Then come up. Again. Ready? Get them right. Hey. Each knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. She. Sheech. Hard. Chew. Chew. Hold. Good. Coming up just real quick. Just like with Kankau Dai, take what you learned from Kankau Dai. You have to finish every technique, right? If you don't finish the technique, the puppet strings aren't going to be taught, right? So if I'm here, for example, if I'm here and I've just got my hips sort of half, they're neither in mahami or full shorten, they're just sitting here comfortably. There's no push. You've got to have the strings pulled, then they can go. Does that make sense? Then here, now, now when I step, don't leave this behind. It's only here where it's pulling in. Now let it go. Now this is open. Now let it go. Does that make sense? You've got to have that full expansion, right? Don't halfway it. Just one quick point, depending on where you're at in your training or who you train with, right? For Enpi, there's some people all the way around and circle back. Others, key stay in the half, then come up. It's up to you, right? But just make sure you do one or the other, not nothing. Does that make sense? Do one or the other, make a decision, right, and keep it. Right, your turn again, ready? It's hard when I'm not doing it because I'm an idiot and can't count. Ready? Block forward. H-D, sun, stretch, she, go, look, shich, hard, stretch, Q, hold. Good, and relax. One more time, your own time, going through that sequence. Ready? Hey. Ashwin. Good. Excellent. Now from here, the Jion sequence. This one we don't need to do as many, but from here, just think as hand-shot-anish as you can. As solid, as basic, as simple, as no excess movement as you can manage. Boom, 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 boom. This, okay? Why did I have flashbacks of Michael Jackson's Thriller just then? Right, okay. From here, ready? Ich, me, some, she, go, no. Good, and back. Last one. Hey, solid. Ich, uchike. Ni, oizuki. San, uchike. Oizuki, shi. Uchike, go. Oizuki, rock. Hey, yummy. Good, and relax. So does this make sense? Is this clear? Can you feel different ways of movement eking their way in as you go through one to the next, to the next, to the next? Right? This is what you're after now, right? So many times you see people do kata and you just see them, whether they're doing Bassai Dai, Kankau Dai, Unsu, it doesn't matter. It looks like they're doing the same freaking kata. Right? They're very good at executing the techniques. They're not very good at executing the kata. Okay? So this is how you want to think about it. So let's go through the whole sequence. We have time for 2 more, and then we'll end there. We'll go through the whole thing. Now, as you go, what we're going to do is we're going to do it once by numbers, and then we're going to do it once magore, once your own time. Try to get the individual kata flavor in each sequence, right? That's respective to that kata. Okay? Hey, Bassai Dai first. So I'm going to announce the kata and count through it. I'm going to count it to tempo, right? So just listen out for that as we go. Ready? Hey. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Good. Now from here, Kankau Dai. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go. Oh. Shich, hach, chi, chi, ich. Now Enpi. Hichi, sam, shi, go, chich, hach, q. Now Jion. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rock. Hey, yummy. Easy? Okay, last one of the day. All the way through, start to finish, your time. See if you can link the different move styles within the particular groups. Okay? If you need to, at the end of each one, at the end of Bassai Dai, pause, reset, then go. The ultimate challenge is just to keep going and change your movement style fluidly as you transition from one move to the next. See how you go. Last one. Hey. Husband. Once you're done, finish. How did it feel? One more. Hey, oi. Last one. Hashmi. Good. Excellent. Okay, hips. On the way. So the key thing here is notice that none of the fundamental karate is changing, right? It's all the same. It's just the way that you're executing and the different pieces that you're emphasizing, right? None of these ways is completely right or wrong. But what I've really thought about, especially in the last number of years, is what makes Yaguchi Sensei do karate like Yaguchi Sensei does. What allows Okazaki Sensei to do it the way he does, Kanazawa, Yahara, and so forth, Osaka Sensei and so forth. And so, having this kind of feeling, part of it's body type, but another part of it is kata choice. Right, what's your favorite kata right now? And that emphasizes the way that you move. Good. One more. Good. And up. Good. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that was fun. Welcome back. Happy New Year. And I'll see you all soon. Hey, Mitsubadachi. Late. Loose. Good. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out. Have a good Sunday, everybody.